Hello, hello, hello. I'm Simona Costantini, and I'm obsessed with helping you connect to your purpose and teaching you about all things mindset, business, podcasting, and everything in between. I realized I deserved and wanted more from this thing called life, so I changed my beliefs, healed my hurt, and made it my mission to help you do the same. I'm a recovering people pleaser turned life coach and podcast producer. I teach busy business owners how to confidently fall in love with their life and business and live it on their terms. On this show, you get everything raw and real, from inspirational guest interviews to deep dives into topics like life, relationships, business, purpose, growth, and mindset. I lay it all on the line every single time. Think of this as your one-stop shop to help you live a more purposeful and inspired life. This is the Happiness Happens podcast. Are you ready to hear this inspiring conversation? Let's dive on in. Hi, everyone. Welcome to this week's episode on the Happiness Happens podcast. This week, we're going short and sweet, and we are talking all of things called taking space. This is literally the only way that I know how to explain this or even label it. But I wanted to touch on this topic because I think that there's so much in the collective, in the energy, in entrepreneurship, in being a business owner, that it feels like, you constantly have to have the answers. You always have to be go, go, go. And you always have to know exactly what the right thing to do is at all times. In some sense, yes, it's really important, especially as you're running a business. Perhaps you have a team, you have deliverables for your clients, or you have people who are waiting on you and looking to you to help them dig deep and to provide that guidance that's so desperately needed. So yes, on one hand, you kind of always have to be in that space of being able to show up and being able to serve and being able to really support the people who need you and who are, paying you for a service at the end of the day, right? But what happens when you don't feel like you can hold that space? Or what happens when you don't feel like you can show up the way that you want to every single day? I keep thinking about this idea because what happens when, right? And so I think it's so important to think about what are the practices that you have in your life every single day that allow you that self-care, that allow you that space to really expand and to settle in and ground yourself so that you can come from that place of making empowered decisions. So you can come from that place of being able to support your clients, your team, the people who are expecting things from you, who need things from you. Because while in one sense, it's great to, balance your energy and it's very much needed, there are also seasons for things. And I think that this is a topic that not a lot of people talk about. I think that when you're experiencing something or when you're going through something, it's so important to just recognize whatever season you're in your life right now and knowing that it doesn't need to be perfect, right? Like you don't have to try and change the season that you're in. You don't have to try and even understand how to move through it in this exact moment. Sometimes the best thing that you can do is to really just sit in it and feel it and let it go through you, right? But at the same time, you don't want to sit in it for too long, because if you sit in it for too long, that's where it can become really challenging to start to pull yourself back out of it again, right? So I wanted to just bring light to this because I think that there's so much pressure on people. There's so much pressure on business owners, entrepreneurs, especially when you have deliverables to your clients, especially when you have people who are relying on you every single day. There's a lot of pressure to really show up and to not really give yourself the time or space to honor the feelings that you're feeling right now, right? So I think that ultimately with this message, what I really just wanted to share today is that, it really is okay if you need to take space. It really is okay if you need to take a step back. It's okay if you can't show up today. It's okay if you don't feel like it today. It's really about honoring what you're feeling in this exact moment so that you can take it and you can transmute that energy and create energy that will support you, that will help guide you, that will help bring you into that next phase, as opposed to just sitting and being like, well, you know what, this is it. There's nothing I can do. And I'm just going to just sit in this negative energy space forever. You can't do that, right? Like you can, but what benefit is it bringing to you ultimately, right? It might feel good for a little bit. It might feel good for a couple weeks. And I'm only saying this because I've been there. I've always been someone who is very, very easy to, like, I can see everything through rose-colored glasses very easily in my life, right? I look at things and I see the positive always. And so when I get into that space where I'm not seeing the positive anymore and I'm not finding the positive, I get very confused because I'm like, okay, how do I get myself through this? And these are things that I work on with my clients. These are things that I work on with myself, right? So I think it just goes to show that healing is not a linear process. There's always going to be things that you need to heal. There's always going to be stories that are going to come up. And especially in times of like a global pandemic, which a lot of the world is not still in the same as other parts of the world, like where I am in the world, it is still a lockdown. You know what I mean? And by the time this airs, we're going to be, slowly coming out of it, but it's very exhausting and it's mentally draining. And I think it's just really important. And I wanted to hop on here and share with you that it's really okay if you're not feeling it right now. It's okay if you are, wanting to just sit in your shit, and that's fine, but make a plan to pull yourself out of it. Right? Honor the season that you're in. Let yourself sit in what you need to sit with. Let yourself process and heal what you need to process and heal. And then let yourself move forward. Let yourself move on and let yourself take that energy and use it for the greater good of yourself, but then also the greater good of the collective, right? Because whatever energy you're putting through to yourself, you're also taking that energy and you're putting it out into the collective as well. So in order for other people to heal, we need to heal. In order for other people to create space in their lives, we need to create space in our lives, right? Everything is a ripple effect. By you giving yourself the permission to do something, you're giving somebody else the permission to do something that they may have wanted to do that they cannot or have not felt that they could. So it's just about consistently and constantly showing up for yourself and really living in that space, living in the in between, living in the moments that don't feel so amazing, living in those different spaces and allowing yourself to tap into what you are here to do on a soul level, allowing yourself to really think about what you're meant to be bringing to people, what light you're here to be sharing, right? So I think these points are all just so important. And I wanted to share this with you because I have been going through my own little season of whatever is going on. And I'm finally starting to see the light and being able to pull myself out of it. But, just because it's a nice sunny day outside doesn't mean that, we're all okay because the sunshine is out. You know what I mean? Sadness and feelings of being angry and confused and not understanding why things happen or when it's going to ever end. Those are normal things to experience. And so let this be your permission that if there's something that's weighing on your heart, you're very much allowed to sit in that and understand why it's coming up for you. And when you can identify it, then you can take it and you can transform it. But without sitting with it, without understanding where it's coming from, you're not going to be able to make any change because you're not being aware, you're not being self-aware of what is needing to happen. So anyways, just a quick solo episode for my entrepreneur friends, but also non-entrepreneur friends who are really feeling the heaviness, who are not feeling all of the love, who are feeling, maybe a little confused, a little lost, right? These are all okay feelings to have. They're normal. You are allowed. And I am validating you right now on here and giving you the permission to feel all of the things that you need to feel. And then also giving you the permission to move through them and to really take them and create from that space, right? Empower yourself from the inside out. Get the help that you need. Reach out to the people who you know will be here to support you. And I'm going to leave you with this today. Thanks so much for hopping on this episode with me. You know I love you guys. You know that I love that you're here every single week. I'm so incredibly grateful for you. And I just hope you have such a beautiful week wherever you are in the world. And I cannot wait to see you for next week's conversation. Well, it looks like we've made it to the end of this episode. I'm so grateful for you tuning into this week's episode, and I cannot wait to see you over on the next one. If you loved this conversation and this topic as much as I did, please feel free to leave us a rating or a review wherever you're listening. It takes just a second, and it is so important for us so that we can make sure to deliver this content to those who need it. I'm wishing you the most beautiful day wherever you are in the world, and remember that happiness happens when you're least expecting it.